welcome to She's in Business, our brand new guest expert series where we're going to bring you all the essentials on business, marketing, branding, visibility, finances, everything that you need to know to run, grow, and scale a successful online business. I'm Kate Schnetzer, award-winning video content producer, top 100 marketing leader in the US, and CEO and founder of She's in Business, the all-in-one business ecosystem for success. And today I have the great privilege of introducing somebody that I've known for probably a couple years. I don't know. It might have been pre-COVID. I'm not even sure. And she brings so much value to whether you're just starting, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you've got a team. She teaches a method that allows you to get clarity on your finances without hassling with all the spreadsheets, without all the overwhelm, without all the shenanigans that we all basically that makes us dread doing the finances. But in the end, it's something that's an important piece of growing a profitable business. And so I'm so excited to welcome her on today. And I'm all by myself today, so I'll be doing all of the show running. Today everybody's on vacay. I'm going to bring on, let's see if we can get her to come on one sec. Guest is in the green room.
There I am.
Let's see. All right.
All right.
Guess what? All right. Hey!
Hey!
It's like technical nightmare today.
Oh, it's always technical nightmare, right?
I know. It's like you figure out one thing and then something else comes up and then you have to deal with that thing. So that's why I feel like live streams, you just get away with so much more because everybody's used to it. So now I'm always pronouncing it Ian, but I almost think I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
I know, but you're pronouncing it right. Everybody thinks that they're pronouncing it. It's like too straightforward, right? They just say it how it is. It's Ian. Yes. It's Gaelic for bird. It's not a real name. I have hippie parents.
Exactly.
Here we are.
Perfect. Well,
thankfully, my last name is Murphy, so that helps explain the Irish-ish of it.
Yes, it rolls off the tongue once you know that, it's like Ean Price Murphy. Once you know it's right, then you can feel confident.
Once you know it's right.
So tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit, just give us a general introduction to your company, kind of what you do. And then we'll kind of jump into what we're going to talk about today. But I want people to get to know who you are and what kind of business you've been running and how you've gotten to the point where you are today.
Lots of mistakes is the first answer. Yeah. So many mistakes. I think that it is so crucial for business owners, whether they're just starting or in it a while, to remember that the mistakes are the point. If we're not making mistakes, we're not learning. And that hopefully you are learning from your mistakes. So I like to say that I was not born a bookkeeper. My company is Moxie Bookkeeping Coaching, which is a little bit of a weird two words together because most people don't think of bookkeeping and coaching as belonging in the same arena. The reason that is our business is because I started way back in the 90s as a freelance bookkeeper, and began a company in 2003, so almost 10 years now. And what we really realized was that what most of our clients needed was not someone to sit down and do the data entry for them, especially as technology has gotten better and better than that, but someone to explain to them not just what am I looking at, why doesn't this make any sense, but the more important questions, which aren't really bookkeeping, but everybody asks their bookkeeper, which is what can I afford? What do I do about this? Am I okay? So going back, because I like to talk in circles, I was not born a bookkeeper. I actually came to booking because I had a personal bankruptcy in my mid-20s. And that was because no one ever told me how money worked, right? So I knew the classic work hard and you'll succeed. Well, buddy boy, let me tell you, I was working hard and I was not making it, because I wasn't getting paid enough. I was working minimum wage jobs. 2, I had always been told, follow your passion and the money will follow. also sometimes yes, and there's a whole lot more information needed there. Things like pay yourself first, great idea. How though, when I'm having trouble like paying my day-to-day bills, um, and earn more than you spend, which again, like cool. And I just need more information than that. So I wasn't able to see any of the red flags screaming at me that like what it wasn't going to work out. And I just kept trying to like make ends meet by throwing groceries and gas on a credit card, until I was like so far in debt that at my current pathetic minimum wage jobs, I was going to take the rest of my life to get out of debt. And I just was like, you know what? I'm calling it. And that was a really intense moment for me, right? Like I kind of laugh about it now, partly because at this point I have a lot of gratitude for that happening. But like I had a personal bankruptcy, right? Like that felt like such a moral failure at the time. Again, because no one was telling me, you know, how money works. That's that's like me being mad that I can't speak Japanese, even though I've never studied it. It wasn't spoken in my home. It wasn't spoken consistently around me. Like, why would I know that? So that's kind of my shtick, right? Is that I think that there's no room for shame or blame in the money stuff. And that is true for people who are earning incredibly high, as well as people who are earning incredibly low. That there's still a lot of baggage that comes with money at all levels.
And so
So
this
that's,
was, and this was like the 90s. So I feel like a lot of people don't either weren't even born yet in the 90s.
I
Like
know,
I
I
talk
know.
to my team members all the time and I'm like, there was a time where we didn't have internet at all. Like
Yeah,
we couldn't just go look something up and like go order a book or, do a bunch of research that didn't involve going to the library, finding a book, encyclopedias, searching through stuff. So how long did that journey go? Like you went through bankruptcy, you started to kind of figure out, hey, I need to figure something out. And so
yeah.
now you're a bookkeeper. Like how long did that process even happen?
Pretty quickly, actually. And part of that was because I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know how to pinpoint it or how to fix it. And because if I could turn my camera around, you would see books spreading out in all directions
Yeah.
from me, right? Like within two hands, I can just grab fistfuls of books. So I actually, before the bankruptcy happened, I was reading all the finance books, right? And again, they were telling me the same stuff. Work hard and you'll succeed. The one that kills me that we still hear today is stop buying coffees. Only now they say stop buying lattes. But like this, $5 a day is not going to solve my problem. And so what I didn't know that I didn't know is that so much of the traditional information that was out there, and thankfully this is changing, and I'm hoping to be a part of that change. These books were written by businessmen who were super corporate, who probably never had a day where they opened their refrigerator and were like, so it's empty in their lives, right? I mean, and some very good, smart people, but it was just this idea of like, yeah, just set aside 10% of your income. And I'm like, again, how?
Right.
So there was no acknowledgement in there of if you aren't earning enough, you are never going to win at this game. And it's one of the reasons that that one of the first places I go with so many of my clients is, hey, listen, as we start to work this stuff out, let's raise your prices by 5%.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start there. Nobody's going to even notice.
Right.
And I want you to raise your prices for the next person that calls in by like 10, 20, 50%. Like as much as you feel like you can really back up with value, because it's very hard to raise prices on current clients and shockingly simple to realize that the rest of the world probably values your work more than you do.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so
And that.
once I was willing to admit like defeat, can't do this, just got to call it,
Yeah.
it actually became very easy for me to move on. Um, and the biggest shift there was that I went from working for other people to working for myself and started bringing in 4 times as much as I was making at a minimum wage job.
And now tell me about the company that you have now, because the last time I think I was on a call with you, it was, you couldn't keep up with the amount of
Yeah.
clients that you had coming in. Like you were just like, we're just slammed. So how,
It's bananas.
yeah, yeah. Tell me about that, because that's like a lot of people's, like the dream. Although it's
Yeah.
like always a dream nightmare, like bittersweet balance. So how'd you get to that point? How have you been dealing with that as an entrepreneur?
For me, that is the opportunity to, there's a couple of things, right? If you're at the point where you're getting more calls than you can handle, either it's seasonal, which is typical for us, right? Every January is our busiest month in terms of production for the clients that we already have, but it's also the month where the most people go, oh crap, I haven't done my books for last year and my accountant just reminded me that taxes are due in a month. I better get my stuff together. So January's are insane months for us. The other big thing is if you have that many people calling you and that many people saying yes, your prices are probably not correct, right? People are saying that's a fabulous deal. Let's do that. And I think like many entrepreneurs these days, I don't, that's such a weird generalization already. The entrepreneurs that I love working with, let's say it that way. The entrepreneurs that I love working with are people who are more focused on impact than on dollar signs, right? So they're people who are like, well, I don't want to be exclusionary, right? I want everyone to have this message. I want it to be accessible. I want it to be out there. And I go, yes, fabulous. Let's make an online course for that. Let's not say I'm going to just randomly give away my time, because time is our second most precious resource after energy, because without energy, your time is not really worth that much, in my opinion. And to begin to find ways to serve those people in a way that does not, I like to say, it doesn't take the food out of your mouth, right? Share from your plate, but don't like starve yourself. So that's kind of where we're at. And we're in the middle of,
After this, I'm gonna
wow. Yeah.
No, it's good.
And that's where we're at in our business is I have been publishing some articles in some books. So I've now become a internationally best-selling author in the US and Canada, and I'm about to release a second anthology. And then I plan on writing my own book kind of for that same reason, because I think it needs to be accessible, right? And then we're also doing an online course, which we're so excited to host on She's in Business.
So tell me a little bit about this. We don't have to have financial clarity in our business without spreadsheets, because man, I got so many spreadsheets going on. And I have the QuickBooks Online, and then I have my She's in Business portal with all my sales, and then I have my Stripe, and I've got all these things.
Yeah.
And we have one team member who loves spreadsheets. And so we have so many, and they're beautiful. But to me, the more spreadsheets I look at, it's like the more confused I get. And I don't know any other way but spreadsheets to get clarity. So when you said like you can get financial clarity without spreadsheets, like my brain went, oh my gosh, I don't have to, I like doing spreadsheets for certain things, but
Sure.
if when it comes to understanding the financial health of my business and where it's going, spreadsheets are not helping me do that. So can you kind of hop into that and let's dive into kind of what that even looks like?
Totally. And again, I am a lover of spreadsheets. So this is no shade on spreadsheets at all.
Yes.
It's so fabulous to have someone on your team willing to live in the minutia.
Yes.
And just as you said, if you are the creative person in the business, which so often the founders are, whether they think of themselves as creative or not, we already have such information overwhelmed that we just need the like clean and simple, just the facts, ma'am.
Yes.
And also it can get really overwhelming, and a lot of these creative people are not spreadsheet people. So in the old version of when you're a hammer everything looks like a nail, part of the great disservice that my industry has done is said, everything's an ale. You must have a spreadsheet for it. And what this guy named Mike Michalowicz sort of shrugged his shoulders and said, well, why don't we just do it this way? In his book, Profit First, was, hey, or I could just open up a bunch of bank accounts. I could open up 8 different bank accounts and assign a different purpose to each one so that every dollar has a job and every dollar has a home. So that when I look at my bank balance, because this is what we want, not just clarity, but like at a glance clarity, because we don't have time to mess around with this stuff. I want to be able to look at my bank balance and be like, I'm okay, or, ooh, not okay, right? So the problem with the way that most businesses are run, again, because they were generally set up by financial professionals who don't think like business owners, is that we were given this thing called a profit and loss, right? How much did I earn? How much do I keep at the bottom? The downside to that, this whole sales minus expenses equals profit formula of accounting, is that profit is the scraps, it's the leftovers, right? And it does not recognize or doesn't connect what everyone in the financial world has been saying of pay yourself first. Well, if profit is supposed to be my owner's pay, my tax payments, my business emergency saving, my growth, my stability, how am I going to get all of those things after whatever's left over, right? So there's just no way for us as business owners to be able to effectively look at that information. And if we do look at our bank balance, it's, oh, right, but rent, oh, right, but payroll, oh, right, but that contractor, has that automatic payment come through or not yet? Did I cancel that subscription, right? That face, that sad entrepreneurial face, we just want to eliminate that. And so what we say is, we're going to, when we get income in, and we have income in its own separate bank account, so it does not get mixed in with other expenses, because that's part of the reason of I don't know what's coming in, what's not, or I don't know what's gone out and what hasn't, because you can't look and see cleanly. I want to see the like gentle waves and the larger tides of how I earn money. How much of my income is recurring? Can I see that without having to do a spreadsheet? What are the seasonal trends? Can I see that without having to do a spreadsheet? So when you get the money into this income account, you then kind of serve that pie up, or I like to think of it like pouring from a kettle into cups, so that you then have your profit set aside first right away, hence the name Profit First, in one bank account called My Profit, another bank account for your taxes, and you can nickname bank accounts on the online interface most of the time, My Taxes. Then you have one for My Pay, and then what gets left over is my expenses. So we flipped the formula. Instead of saying sales minus expenses equals profit, we say no, sales minus profit equals expenses. Now I have a budget. And I don't have to be like, well, how much do I think I'm going to spend on office supplies this month? I don't know. Should I write down $10? Should I write down $50? No, if it's in that account, go spend it. It's fine. That's what you can afford based on the cash you have now. And it seems complicated to open up all those bank accounts. It's really not. And the like lights and sparkles and rainbows and unicorns that come from being able to look at a bank balance and be like, I know exactly what's in there and I know exactly what I can afford, is magic.
You know what I think? I'm toggling back and forth between us here, but what I'm thinking is when you said the kind of like the magical unicorn, I thought of how attached so many of us are to the financial health of our business. It really affects our entire life. Like, I know when we're in a tight month and I don't feel like I'm in control of that tight month, like I'm not really sure where things are going to be allocated, what I should move around. Like, I'm just a mess all month. I'm stressed. I'm short. Like, I'm like, I just hide away in my office trying to figure it out. when those tight months come, especially when you're a new business, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, always. Like, I can't say, well, I always know I have a slow year in the summer. I have, you know, like March is slow. It can be really stressful. So, how, like, what is that feeling of having, like, what are the pieces people need to have in place to have that unicorn feeling, to like get out of the books and the stress, to get that, to that, because that's the dream, man, where you can just sit and
Yeah.
focus on your actual business and not worry about what's coming in and what's coming out.
Yes. So you likely will never stop worrying because, what we want to do is like turn the volume way down on that worry and make that worry the gentle little fire under our motivational pot, right? So if you use this system where you're giving every dollar a job and giving every dollar a home, you can then go back to focusing on two numbers that you can either figure out on your own. All of the instructions are in the book, which is also an audiobook, or just work with someone that knows the methodology, like me. And what we say is, well, let's look kind of at what your current habits are around earning and spending so that we're setting things up to work with the reality, right? And because once we know kind of where we're at, what our starting point is, I can help you figure out what is my target income. If I want to be able to bring home $75,000 a year for my own personal life, right? That's like, more would be great, but this is where I kind of need it to happen in order to be able to meet my personal financial obligations, fully fund my retirement, blah, 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 whatever that number is. You want to say 175? Fine, you do you. Whatever that number is, we then kind of retroactively figure out, okay, great. So how much does your total sales need to be in order to assure that you're going to have enough cash to be able to pay yourself that much? Once we have that number, then that's your sales target for the month. If you've met it, yay, you're done. If you haven't met it, okay, like I'm halfway through the month, I'm only 25% of the way towards my target. This means I already know I've got to start, picking up the phone, glad handed, whatever it is that I do to make the marketing work. So that when you're short, it's not a surprise. And that's the big stress, right? Is the I don't know what I don't know, as opposed to here's some bad information, kind of sucks. I'm already on it. It's cool. Can I keep talking? I have so many more
Talking.
thoughts to
Sorry,
add
I
to
was
this.
switching over.
Fabulous.
Everyone's
So
on vacation, so it's just me switching.
I just want to give you, I know that I'm like, la, la, la. I wanted to give you an opportunity while I took a breath to be like,
no,
hold.
Go. You're doing
fantastic. So the metaphor that I use, because I use tons of crazy metaphors, but again, I think that helps people feel like money's not so scary, is what we're talking about here with all of these different bank accounts is turning your kitchen junk drawer into your kitchen silverware drawer. And what I mean by that is when I pull the drawer open, I know that there's a bottle opener in there somewhere, maybe even two, maybe even three, but I can't find them until I dig around. I mean, I will find them. I'll find at least one of them eventually. But just that stress of like, where is it? I think it's in here. Did I take it out? Maybe I left it at somebody's house. I don't know. Oh, no, here it is. What a waste of energy and time. And so if I had simply just gone to the Container Store, wherever I like, and gotten the little things to separate out my forks from my knives from my spoons from my bottle opener, then I slide that drawer open and there it is, right where I need it. That's what we're talking about doing with our money. And to be clear, this cash management system does not replace your bookkeeping. It's just that bookkeeping is looking at the past, at what already happened. How did I, past tense, how did I earn and spend my money? Which again, that's the accounting world looking at everything like a nail. This is the report you need. Yeah, kind of. But as a business owner driving a business, what I really want to see is not what's in the rearview mirror, but what's ahead. And that's what Profit First and this cash management system allow you to do, is to look far enough ahead, not all the way to the horizon necessarily, but far enough ahead to be able to say, oh, hey, look, giant pothole. Oh, hey, look, sharp turn. Oh, hey, look, cute little bunny hopping across the road. I need to take evasive action now safely while I see that there's enough runway to do that, rather than, cranking the wheel to try and make that turn and potentially crashing, which is, again, how most businesses operate. They operate in that oh shit moment.
Right. I feel like that's why so many go under. It's because it's like constantly playing catch up. All of a sudden, they don't have cash flow. A few months goes by, they've maxed everything out on credit and credit cards, and then that's it. And there's nothing you can really do about it. When you run out of money, you run out of money. What One thing that I found a lot of, like, course creators, coaches, kind of in this solopreneur, they've been doing it by themselves for a while. They bring on a team. I hear a lot that they're paying their VA or their assistants or whoever they're bringing in to help them in that first growth stage. They're paying them first. How much of that should they even be doing that to start with ever? If so, how long should that be an actual thing? If not, how do they know when it's time to start bringing on outside resources?
Yes. So there is no magic formula here. What I would say is, during that 0 to 150,000 or negative income to 150,000, there's sort of two main ideas that I want everyone to keep their eyes on. One is, how much can I afford to invest each month into this business without stressing my personal finances? That becomes the quote unquote income of the business. Even though it's not earned, that's the money that your business has to work with. That's your cash flow. So from that, in my opinion, you should still have those different bank accounts for profit, tax, and owner's pay. But because your income is not earned, you can just start like the habit of it and only put 1% of your income into each one of those things. Because that then still says, okay, I need to be remembering to set aside these things, and only what's left over can I spend on my business. So it is often the case during, again, that first kind of $100,000 ramp up phase, that operating expenses, the things that you got to pay to keep your lights on and your doors open, your virtual doors open, it's going to run to like 80, 90+% of your income, especially if most of your income is just you putting money in. However, very quickly, and this is sort of proof of concept, you need to know that that money is going to be coming in, right? So that's sort of the first thing, is like, be aware that when you put money in, that is still, you should still treat that as if it were income, even though it's not. And number two is the difference between what is an investment and what is an expense. So an investment to me is money that I am spending on my business that will turn into income in the next 30 days with,
Okay.
with great certainty. Anything else is an expense.
So, can you repeat that? Because, like, people in the back need to hear that.
Yes. Anything that you spend in your business, and what distinguishes what I think of as an investment from what I think of as an expense, is anything that you're spending in your business should be bringing in income, earned income, in the next 30 days. That's not always possible, right? So again, here we are. I'm building my course. So I have to invest in things like the software platform and a VA to help me, and maybe a copywriter. Again, those are all kind of startup costs, and you need to be aware that you are the investor in your own business. And do you have enough cash available from your personal side to put into the business? And then, of course, as quickly as possible, you want to replace what you're putting in with what you're earning. So the danger signs come in if you're kind of into it and there's no income coming. What that tells me is, did you check before you built this thing, right? You can't, there is no, if you build it, they will come. Not anymore. Don't build a stadium until you know that there's enough of a population that are actually interested in whatever it is you're putting on at the statement in the stadium, right? So I have a great idea. Fabulous. Love that. Have you tried to sell it already? Have you, not from friends and family, have you, for people that are willing to invest their money into you, have you gotten enough sales to be able to say, now I can afford to go build this? Now this makes sense. Now I have proof of concept. Because so many of us think, well, I love this idea. Why wouldn't everyone?
I've
The
found that
other,
I found that to
yeah,
be true, like because we have marketing clients who come in and they know they have something really amazing, and they know they have like a message that they can share and transformation that they can provide. But I always have to stop and consider and have them consider, like, is there enough of a market to get where you want to go to do it? Like if you have a really high ticket service, you don't need much. Great. You have something that you want to sell at scale, like you need to know that not only is it great to you and a few people, but can you sell enough realistically to get where you want to go? And you're saying you basically need to figure out if that can happen before you go do some big expenditure, before you bring on somebody else, before you stretch yourself. You need to know that how far you can actually be stretched.
yep. And I think, again, this is becoming more and more common, especially around online courses, of like, do the first round or two, your beta rounds, just on the most basic technology with as little marketing as possible, because that's this like sell the tell. I don't even know what that phrase means, but what I mean when I say that is make sure that this idea is marketable before you try to market it. Because you don't want to come back after spending $5,000 in Facebook ads and be like, that resulted in crickets. Thanks.
Right. Well, and two, I've always said that the cold marketing, getting cold leads, like to me, it's really easy. A lot of the gurus are like, oh, you just need to build this giant list and then you can sell to this list. And that's definitely one of the strategies that people use really successfully. But to me, you have a really marketable, sellable product when you can sell to people who don't know you, like cold leads, like cold traffic, like they'll buy or pre-buy what you have. Then it's like, so I always tell people, if you're just starting and you're trying to figure out if this is an actual product people are gonna buy, and you don't have a huge list to sell to, that's even better, because you're gonna get you're gonna get the truth of the matter if whatever it is that you're developing is gonna sell, if it is gonna succeed.
Yep. So when it comes to like, how do I spend money on my business? Once I have the cash to support the expenses, the three questions that I ask myself constantly are, is this going to improve the quality of what I'm selling? Is it going to improve the efficiency of how I'm selling it? Or is it going to save my sanity?
Oh, I like that.
If you can't say yes to all three of those,
Mm-hmm.
you probably don't need it now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was talking to a client the other day. She does this really cool thing. She's a therapist that works with this like neurofeedback, I don't even know, device that helps like recarve neural pathways to bypass some of the trauma that's been grooved into our brains that talk therapy just can't sort of touch. Super cool. And she was saying, well, I plan to rent some of these so that people can take them home and do them as often as they want, or they can come in and be serviced in my office, or. So I think I need 5 of these machines. And I was like, today? Do you need 5 today? And she was like, no, but in the next. And I was like, so how long does it take you to get another machine? She was like, oh, if I order it, it'll be here within a week. I'm like, okay, do you think a client would be willing to wait a week for you? Like, they don't have to know that you're ordering it, or tell them if that's your thing. But if someone is like, yes, I would love to be able to take one of these home, be like, great, let me get you one. I should have it in 7 to 10 days. then spend the money because now you have the income to support that. You know that that's going to turn around and bring you money in within 30 days.
Right. I like this system. I think that's a really good way for people to think about it, especially the 30 days. Like it gives somebody a measurable kind of goal to think about and something that's like an actual benchmark when a lot of people don't. Because we hear all the time, oh, it's going to take 3 to 5 years for you to, for you to have a profitable business, for you to be constantly
Absolutely not.
in the black. Right. So tell me about that because I hear
that is the worst advice.
Yes. Tell me the thing.
Well,
tell me all the
yeah.
things.
So the worst advice is it's going to take 3 to 5 years to have a profitable business, followed with it takes money to make money. Oh, baby girl, no, it does not. It might take time and effort. Money sure helps, but we are all smart, creative people, scrappy. There's a library. You don't have to buy a book. You can get the Libby app. Love my Libby app. I have a library card that is connected to the app on my phone. I borrow books and audiobooks all the time for free. And then if I love it and I go, this is a resource I want to have on my desk, then I will purchase the hard copy so that I can mark it up and do all the things that I do when I read. So simple things like that. How do I get something better for less or free? Right? And again, hello, she's in business, knocking it out of the park with doing it better for less. Come on. Love you guys. So in that idea of, you need to plan to be profitable kind of from day one. And again, these are guidelines, not hard and fast rules. So if you go, that's not going to work for me, okay. It's just something to aim for. Because as we were already saying, the theory is you should be able to pre-sell your course, your service, your package, your app, your whatever you're selling, so that now you have the cash to go build it. So you are already profitable. Doesn't always work that way, but it's well worth knowing that is super possible, right? I have a friend that did a Kickstarter for a book. She wanted to write a book. It was going to cost her a bunch to publish it. She was like, let me see if anybody will buy the book. She got the money to write and publish it up front. There's always a way.
Now, when people are thinking about, so they're thinking about launching maybe a business from scratch, what are the things, especially that first year, that they really need to think about? Hey, what are the actual expenditures that are important? What should they be really prioritizing? Because I feel like people spend a lot of time and a lot of money on stuff that they shouldn't even be thinking about until they're at so far beyond where they're at. They spend so much time and money spinning their wheels on stuff that is not going to actually move them forward because some guru who is in some, they were more advanced at that time or teaching a more advanced audience. Now they're chasing that, that horse, and then they're not actually focusing on what they should be. So what should financially they be focused on when they're first starting, when they're in that launch mode?
The foundational idea for me is run the business you want, not the business you were told to run. So let's say run the business you want, not the business you were told to have. Because let's say I am living in Brooklyn, I've had enough of the noise and whatever, and I would like to take a trip to the Berkshires. I don't know, anywhere. Get me out of town, get me to the trees. How I choose to plan that trip from where I am to where I want to be should be dependent on how do I want the experience of getting there to go. Some people will be like, just want to get there quick. I don't care what the tolls are. I want to be out, and in my cabin within 3 hours, barring horrible traffic. Great, go take the interstate, take the freeway, take whatever fast direct route you want to do. However, some people, maybe it's fall and the leaves are turning and you're like, I really want to, wherever I'm going, I don't even know if it kind of goes to the Berkshires. I don't think so, but I want to go on this gorgeous parkway where it's, it's 2 lanes instead of 4. So it's a little slower,
Mm-hmm.
but it's beautiful so that I can like really enjoy the drive.
Yeah.
So I think that gets lost in this, like, go find a guru and just do what they say. Both are right. Both may or may not be right for you. So I'm of the opinion, again, spend nothing if you can get away with it. Work out of your house, right? Until you begin to feel pressure on those 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going insane. My sanity is at risk here. I really need some support for my own mental and physical health. Great. That's a time to invest some money in somebody to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending way too much time on doing things slowly that could be done faster and better, either by an automation or by someone who is an expert at this. That's the efficiency lever. Great. That's a fabulous place to go invest. Because again, time's a thing. We all have more to do than we have time for. And then the third one, which I'm going backwards now, so of course I can't remember it. Sanity, efficiency, and quality. Duh. If not spending money on this thing is going to affect the quality of my service, then that might be something I want to deliver on. Now, a note on quality and why I put it last. We think we got to roll up in the pink Cadillac to our clients on day one. They don't care. You can do things. If you want to do your first course in Google Docs,
Mm-hmm.
nobody cares. What they care about is the transformation that you are giving them, the ease and sanity and efficiency and quality you're providing to them. If you're as long as your systems work, they don't have to be fancy. And then, once you're like, my product is solid, my service is great, I'm getting results and testimonials about my results so that I have that social proof. Now, when I invest in something more robust, I already have the pieces in place rather than let me go pay some, 40-hour a week VA because I think I might be able to fill their time.
I think that is so poignant too, because we tell people all the time, you don't have to, like you said, pull up in the cat. Like, you don't have to have the like all-encompassing, comprehensive, solves everyone's problems. If you're honest about whatever it is that you have, hey, it's a Google Doc.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I'm not going to help you become a totally different version of yourself. I'm just going to help you get from A to B. Because that in itself is a miniature transformation. Like,
Yep.
if people can keep it simple, it's actually easier to sell. And if you give people the shortcut, I always say, I'll pay for the shortcut. I'll pay 10 times as much for a shortcut, so I don't have to spend all this time and all this money spinning my wheels for months and months. If you've got the solution, I don't need the bells and whistles on it. Just give me the solution. Give me the shortcut and I'll pay for it.
Here's a funny example.
Yeah.
I am hoping to install a security screen door on my front door. I have a front door. There's no airflow. I'd like there to be airflow, but I also don't want to leave my front door, wide open. So there is a company locally that will install screen doors that lock and have some reinforcement to them. I saw that and I was like, yep, sign me up.
Yeah.
The process of getting them to take my money has been so painful. Like,
Really?
they only work Monday through Thursday, so like can't work with me on weekends. They
Right.
want an hour and a half of my time to take measurements. I get it. And then to sit down and go over with me the color and style options. No, baby, no, just give me the brochure.
Right.
I already know that the price range we're talking about. If you can give me the information, I will tell you what I want before you even get here. And then you just measure to confirm.
Right.
Like that. If they would just give me a Google Doc.
Right. Right.
So they're trying to make this experience. And again, I think this is super common in high ticket, right? I have to talk to you to explain to you the value before I can tell you the price.
Right.
For many people, yes.
Yeah.
But for people like me, nope. I already know whether I want to buy it or not, and all you can do is blow the sale. So just let me give you my money, please.
That's why I don't even try to sell anymore. I just talk to people. I try to
Yeah.
give them every piece of information ahead of time. And then
Yeah.
I just talk to them about their dog, their kid, whatever on the phone.
Right.
You know, just because I want them to get to know me and answer any questions. But I'm like, the only thing I can do is mess this up if I sit here and go through a through a
That's
sales
right.
pitch. Here's the
That's
stuff.
right. I'm going to cuss and you're not going to like it.
Right.
I'm going to, say something political that you're going to be like, I'm not ready for that. Whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever.
So funny. So tell
Yeah.
me what you've got a book. You're working on a book. You're working on a course. Are you shifting focus in your own business to work more at scale? Because I mean, you're in bookkeeping and that's pretty heavy, in terms of personnel and resources and expertise. What's your big plan? Because I think there's a lot of people in that kind of situation where they do have a business that's personnel heavy, resource heavy, and they're looking to find a more scalable either add-on option or something to shift into entirely.
Yeah. So part of the reason that this shift is coming about is because the technology of bookkeeping is dramatically different than it was even 10 years ago. Okay, maybe 15 now. With I remember when QuickBooks Online first came out and I was like, why would I pay monthly for something that I can buy once every 3 years?
Right.
And then I was like, oh, because I can do it from anywhere and because I can be working in the file at the same time as somebody else and we can collaborate and, like I saw the value. And now I'm like, we don't do desktop. We just don't do desktop because, the journey that I want to have is with people that are sort of tech forward and looking for innovation and looking for those simplifications and efficiencies. And so along with that technology and AI coming through, a lot of these softwares now have the ability to say, when other people spend money at this place, they usually call it this. Do you want to call it that or not?
Mm-hmm.
And so for something like Staples, sure, that makes sense. Office supplies, probably. It's fair that I can create a rule that says unless I tell you otherwise, it's office supplies. Versus something like, Amazon, where you could be buying anything, which gets me to another side tangent of make sure that your business and personal are separate. Do not use the same Amazon account to be buying all your personal junk as all your business junk, because it's harder to tell, wait, was that for business? Did I order something that was blended together? And if you were ever to be audited by the IRS, what you're telling them is, there's no separation between me and my business. Why don't you audit us both? Come on, it's a party. And nobody wants that.
I didn't think about that.
Yep. Yes.
So even if you have separate debit cards or credit cards attached, have an Amazon account that's just for your company and an Amazon that's just for personal.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I don't know anybody who does that. So now I gotta go fix it.
This guy, right? Yeah. Yes. I mean, and again, it's not about fix, it's about simplifying. So it sounds more complicated at first. Oh, now I got to go open a whole second account. That's going to take you 10, 15 minutes at the most. And now when you have Amazon download into your software, you can create a rule. It's office supplies, unless I tell you that it's, project supplies for a specific client. Way easier to track. So, that's, I don't even know where I was going with that. That's the thing, right? Is just be really intentional.
You're specifically focused on people who want that tech simplicity or want to simplify those pieces of their business, because really that's the profit first model to begin with. And now you're just taking it a step further and bringing in people who not only want that as a piece of their business, but want to simplify that even more.
Right.
Less overwhelmed,
because
stress, better spending.
Yes. And so what that allows you as the business owner to do is to either do your own bookkeeping for longer, If your stomach just turned or your eyes just rolled when I suggested that you do your own bookkeeping, my superpower is getting people who hate numbers to turn to me and say, I actually kind of like bookkeeping. I know, I know, I know you do now. I know you do. It can be fun. Sounds weird. It can be fun. Or you can now more effectively hand it over to a VA because, again, the way the technology and the industry is developed, you no longer need someone who can like translate the Greek to the Latin, right? With the power to the people, we can all do it for ourselves now with a little bit of guidance, right? If you have someone say, let's customize that chart of accounts for you. And then let's show you how to do 80% of the bookkeeping, which is going to be the same thing. Where did the money come from? Where did it go? Cool. Where did the money come from? Where did it go? Cool. Right? It's very repetitive, and so much easier than anyone thinks it is. So that's why I'm trying to move into this direction. Is so many of these simple ideas, just nobody's hearing them. Nobody's hearing. I give you permission to customize your chart of accounts. It's not a magic thing. It's designed for you. Think of it like a suit. It's off the rack, right? You got to have it tailored to you. It has to be a color and a style and whatever you like so that it really like fits your curves, right? It'll work. You'll be dressed, but you won't be like dressed as if you had it tailored. So, and just the things that I find myself saying over and over and over again, like, how do you customize your chart of accounts? We're making those sort of simple little modules so that whether someone has decided, I want to work with you, and I can be like, great, here's some stuff you can do ahead of time if you want to make our work more efficient, or do nothing. You want to show up and be like, yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't care. I'm here to support you. Or for people that are like, I'm actually not ready to work one-on-one with anyone. How much can I get done on my own? Instead of saying, yeah, go read the, giant library of business books, again, many of which were written in a different, era. COVID, again, sort of shifted everything for everybody. So a lot of these books, the foundational ideas are good, but you spend so much time kind of parsing out, how is this relevant to me? And I will say that about the book Profit First as well, right? I love Mike Michalowicz. He is a lovely human. And his story is the story of a middle-classy white boy in New Jersey who started a tech company and had 30 employees and, bought a bunch of fancy cars, and then it all kind of fell down around him. That is not my story, right? So there have been other iterations of that book written. One of my personal favorites is one called Profit First for the Minority Business Enterprise, written by a woman named Suzanne Mariga. Mike does the intro on it, right? Like, it's cool. And the reason that I like her book better than the original is because she has more mindset stuff in it. What happens when you start to be successful and go, oh crap, I wasn't ready for this. Right? My family's giving me a hard time. My friends are giving me a hard time. My partner's giving me a hard time, oh, fancy, or the opposite. Oh, you own your own business? Well, why aren't you in a private jet yet then? Like, it doesn't matter. People are just judgy. So being able to really confront some of those messages is so important, and to stop self-sabotaging whatever your sabotage is. Either I earn a bunch and so I spend it all because I need to look like I'm doing better than I am, or I earn it and I hoard it because I don't know when things are going to fall apart. Those don't serve you. And so just finding this place of ease of, I know I have enough in my bank accounts, got my little profit savings as a cushion. I've got my tax set aside already. So when the tax bill comes, I know I'm covered. That is so relaxing. I can't even tell you. So yeah, that's why I'm scaling.
So tell everybody kind of how they can connect with you, if you have like dates of things potentially coming out, like launch dates of any particular courses, books, and kind of how they can, if they want to do something with you, if they just want to follow you, they want to buy something from you, they want to work with you, how do they connect?
So I do have something coming out. I don't know the date. I have a business development woman, Aowen, who is magic for me. She just handles. So I think the best thing to do is go to our website, moxiebookkeeping.com. There's a little freebie in there called, 4 ways to track and keep more of what you earn. I don't even remember the title of my own freebie, but
We'll link
it's
it. Don't worry.
thank you.
I never
Because
know
the
how to
message
get
is
the
what's
titles either.
what's inside is what I've been talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
How do you leverage these different bank accounts to like help you get that at a glance clarity?
yeah.
I do have a book launch coming up with a group called Powerful Women Today. They're amazing. I would really love for you to meet Carolina.
I would love to.
I feel like whenever I'm writing those emails now, though, it just sounds like spam. Like, oh, hey, I have someone I think you should meet and follow. We're, of course, Moxie's on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. That should all be on the website too. And my favorite way for people to connect with us is to come to our free quarterly profit parties, which is right.
I want to
Look,
come.
I'll
I don't think I've
come.
seen it. I have not seen an invite. I need to go.
It'll come in the
Ah!
newsletter. I got a pom pom for this quarter's celebration. We're starting to do
I
props
need to go
now.
to a profit party with pom poms. So what
Profit
are
party
these
with pom poms.
profit parties? Sound amazing.
So the profit party is 45 minutes or an hour, depending on who shows up and what questions they have, to just sort of say, like, we did it, yay, to remember to celebrate those things, because I know money's not always super fun. So if you are doing profit first, we love for folks to show up and say, this is the positive change that I was able to affect in my business. Percentage, we don't ask you to share numbers. I was able to increase my profit by 5%. I was able to decrease my expenses by 1%. I was able to double my owner's pay, right? And then to sort of set some intentions for the next 90 days. What's the one thing, right? Again, based on all of these books that we've already been told to read, Atomic Habits, the one thing, blah, blah, blah. What's the one thing you're going to work on over the next 90 days that's going to make the greatest impact in your business? And then like come back in a quarter and tell us about it.
I like. Well, you need to invite all the SIB sisters. Like they need to like.
I totally will. I'll tell Aowen to do it. And we sent out a newsletter. So if you're on the newsletter, you'll get the invite. But yes, we will also make sure that it's widely posted, because obviously the more the merrier, right? And so some people show up and they're like, I just was told to come here. I don't know what any of this is about or why I'm doing this. Um, yeah. But just
I
I mean,
love
some of it
that.
is like exposure therapy to
Yeah.
just begin to be like, I can walk into a room where people are talking about money and my face won't melt off.
Right.
I'm
Right.
okay.
Right.
Right? I might be like a little adrenalized,
Right.
but I'm okay. And everyone there is going to be like, yeah, supportive. Um,
Well, and then you kind of like the more entrepreneurs you talk to about like how messy at some point, if not currently, their like financial clarity even I mean, they have no.
yeah,
It's just a hot mess for so many people. And then you can
yeah,
get out of the shame of it that I'm not some like I don't suck at being an entrepreneur. I just don't know how to do this stuff. I know how to do these other things in my business, and I'm the best in the business at it, but I don't know how to do this. But I can do better, and you could do better tomorrow. Like, it doesn't have to be some big thing. You could just do little things, little improvements. A lot of the strategies in Profit First are to me, were just like, oh, duh, of course I should be doing that. But like, you don't know what you don't know.
right,
Yeah.
right. So the best one action that you can take, not even tomorrow, but today,
Yeah.
is go to whichever bank you're currently banking at,
Mm-hmm.
see if you can open one new savings account
Mm-hmm.
and start putting 1% of your income into that savings account and just watch that little money tree grow.
Ooh, I love it. Just 1%, just every
Just
every
1%.
sale or once a
If you
month.
can't do 1%,
Yeah. We're pushing it.
um, yeah, like once a month. Whatever's easy, right? You don't want to let it go so far that you're like, I actually can't remember how much I made this month.
Right.
Weekly, monthly, whatever works for you.
Love it.
Um, yeah,
All right.
that's a nice and easy start.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Ian, for coming on. I hope everybody will walk away with, I know I am already keeping little notes over here of like things I need to make sure to do today. I usually do financial stuff on Fridays for Finance Fridays, but I'm doing it today. Amazon account, I'm going to split, even though I've been paying, I just never even thought of it. I just started banking with a new bank, and I don't have a savings account in there. I'm going to do a savings account and start putting stuff in there. And I want to go back over your 3 priority list and share that with everybody who's following this. So check the event description for all of the tips in a synopsis form. And also, you want to go pick up the guide that Ian has on her website. We'll link that below. And RSVP for one of those profit parties. Those sound really fun. And Ian, thanks for joining me. I hope you'll come back. And you're our first guest on this new series. And I couldn't be happier that it was you. I was like so excited when you said yes. But I hope you'll come back as we fancy up even more. And as we get some flow going, I hope you'll join us again.
I would love to. Thank you for having me on today.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow with Juliet Stapleton. We're going to talk about visibility and finding how to be aligned with your visibility so that you're attracting your ideal client by design. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow.